Appreciate you joining us, Joanne. Good morning, everybody. Uh, this is part of the Best Missouri Hands Professional Development Workshop Series, and we are doing virtual studio tours this year. I've got Wanda Tyner on here helping me out, and we are going to be visiting the studios of Kathleen Day, who's a juried fiber artist, and Cindy, how do you say your last name? Do you go by
Mutrux.
Mute?
Mutrux.
Okay. Okay. And do you say Cindy or Cynthia?
Cindy. I go
Cindy?
by
Okay.
Cindy. Yeah.
Okay. And you are a glass artist.
Yes.
Juried glass artist.
Juried copper, actually, juried metal. So, but I do
Okay.
glass as well. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, very nice. Well, we appreciate both you ladies being here with us today for this virtual studio tour. I'm going to let each of you introduce yourself. We're going to go ahead and start with you, Cindy, if you don't mind, and we'll follow up with Kathleen. If you'll tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started and
Sure. My name is Cindy Mutrux. I got started pretty late in life, I guess. I've never really considered myself an artist, but my husband and I owned a local business in Columbia, and I had a customer walk through our door, and she gave me this American glass flag. And having a love for glass, I'm like, where did you buy this? And she goes, oh, I made it. And I'm like, I have got to learn how to do this. And Juried Artist, she's a member of Missouri Hands. Janice Burgess was teaching classes at the time in Fulton once a month. And so that's where it all started right there. And so I was going through a bit of a stressful time in my life, and I felt like all the stress was going away every time I'd work with glass. And I'm like, I have to do this. And so that's honestly where I got my start. And it's just kind of escalated from there. Um,
nice.
so
And
yeah.
what area are you in, Cindy? What area are you in?
Columbia, Missouri. I now teach out of my home. I was teaching out of my business. My husband and I sold our business in February. I had taken in our business that we owned, it was a garage. And so I had taken a car bay garage and was teaching classes out of that. But then we got to the point where we had grown, and it was very hard to teach a class with the engine pulled out of a car. And so um, October of last year, my husband had this little space for me built. And so at our home, and we live in the county, rural Boone County. And so I hold classes here, and people come out here, and uh, I teach classes. I also have visiting artists that come, and they teach their mediums here. I wanted this to be a space for other artists to use. I wanted it to be a comfortable fit space. When I learned that quickly when I had my space in Columbia, that other people were stressed and needed an outlet, and art is therapy. And so I just wanted to make this a very safe, comfortable space for everyone to be at and to leave like they had accomplished something. And so that's how this came about. So that's
Perfect. Art is therapy, that is for sure. So
it
thank you
is.
for sharing
Mhm.
your skills and knowledge with other folks and um, giving them the opportunity to learn and create. So thank
Sure.
you.
Yeah.
All right. I will share your video
Okay.
and I'll open it up for question and answers afterwards. So I'm sure folks will be curious as to how you do some things. So let's that okay to go ahead and share?
Sure.
Okay. Let me see here. This is your video. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. We will let her roll. That's pretty outside. I'll tell you.
Thank you.
That's a nice setting.
Welcome to Cindy Lou's Glass Studio. Come on in. Again, welcome to Cindy Lou's Glass Studio. This is my studio that opened in October of last year. Currently, or before that, I was working in a one-bay garage bay at our former business that we just sold in February. So my husband built this studio for me. It opened in October, and this is where I host classes and I invite artists to come in and do their classes. And so I'm just going to briefly kind of walk you through kind of the process here. These are my kilns. These are my smaller kilns that I use. This is a manual kiln. That's what I was taught on. And so I'm kind of used to this one. But then I was persuaded in getting a digital one. And boy, has it changed my life. And so I primarily use a lot of these smaller kilns to do my projects with. I do have a larger one, and you're going to get to see that in a bit. So when I invite artists or have myself, this is kind of an overflow table of where the artist or myself can put materials at that our students can come up to, you know, different colors of frit or marini or glass or whatever project that we're working on. And as you can kind of see up here, here's my paints that I have here. I have more. And then my stringers, some puddles that I've worked on, and then some flame working projects that I learned how to do in Las Vegas. So that's some of that. And you come over here, and this is kind of an overflow of supplies that I use for classes. My computer, obviously, for bookkeeping. I do call this my most important room in the whole studio, the bathroom, obviously, but it's more than a bathroom. So this is where you'll find my larger kiln at, my digital one. And when I have larger projects, larger classes, this comes in handy to be able to, for me to be able to get the products to my students faster. So as you can see here, I have extra glass that I have stored here and some other supplies. And then the obvious, the throne. So the most important. And also some other supplies. I have my frit that's there, some scrap glass, some projects I've done. And then if you look over, on the other side of the wall, this is artwork that I incorporated into my glass studio. This is artwork that my grandchildren did, and I've had framed, and also my son. My son is 40 years old, and he did this when he was in first grade, so we get a real kick out of that. So. Oh no. Going back through here. When I'm working on glass, I have my grinder, I have my saw, little vacuum. I love this thing. I would recommend that to anybody. So, and then my frit maker. I also have a Dremel, and then I use this grinder quite a bit to grind up scrap glass to make frit. I love it. And then the supplies here. A lot of my marini is stored here. My glass cutter. Love this thing. I would recommend this to anyone. I have arthritis in my hands, and this has been a lifesaver for me. So, and then I have my chili pepper here. Kelly Pridgeon is an artist. She's part of our glass group, and she is a member of the Missouri Hands, and she's been working with me, God love her, on flame working. And so last year, she and I were part of a competition, and I really got interested in flame working, so I invested in the equipment, and she's still working with me. So I'm work in process with the flame working. So I went ahead and bought the materials and the torch, and that's my torch station here. Important with my overhead here for fumes to go out. There's some lanterns that I just recently worked on with glass fusion. And then my glass rods, and I need to get these a little more organized. So that's pretty much it. Anytime you want to
I have a Facebook page, Cindy Lou's Glass Studio. Look there for classes when they're listed. I have artists that reach out to me. Michelle Spry is one of them with Midway Mercantile. She does a lot of glass classes here. Cindy Scott, she does classes. And so if you're an artist that might be interested, reach out to me and let us chat, and we will get something on the calendar. So thanks for coming to my studio today.
Nice job. Very
Thank
nice
you.
job.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks to Michelle
Yeah.
Spry for videotaping that for me. So
Yeah, y'all did a good job. I like how the door opened and you were standing inside already. It was
thank you. Thank you. So yeah. So that's my
so
studio.
okay, and so you have classes in there, and then also you're creating your work. Where do you sell your work at?
I don't. I haven't. I had a storefront when we had, when we owned our store. I haven't placed any of my stuff in a storefront. People are generally pretty good about coming to my house here. I do have a little section over here that I have things for sale. I do a couple of shows per year. I'm kind of picky about the shows. But other than that, I mean, people reach out to me, and I'm pretty fortunate in that area. Do I sell tons? No, I don't sell tons, but during Christmas time, I think pretty much that's pretty standard for everybody. That's really when my big sales happen. So, um, but yeah, I mean, I'm pretty blessed in that area that people know who I am and they reach out to me. So, and you establish those customers that they come to you year after year. So I'm blessed in that area to have those people in my life. So
Absolutely. So you post your work on your Facebook page and people contact you that way too
yes, they
about
do.
people.
So yeah. So
Nice.
I actually have I have a couple of pieces right now that I'm getting ready to ship to Washington. And so I had a lady a few months ago whose father had passed away, and he had these blue mason jars. I had never I had never done anything with a blue mason jar before, but I'm always up for an experiment, as I call them. And so they're never failures, they're always experiments. And so I made earrings. Um, and I posted those, and those went crazy wild. And so I just had a lady reach out to me from state of Washington, and I have to ship up there to her. So yeah, so it's just, social media works if you work it properly and correctly. So,
Yeah, I agree
so
with that. I agree with
yes,
that.
yes.
How about shows? You got any shows coming up this fall?
Um, State Historical Society downtown, we do that. I've done that for about 5 years now. That's one of them I have on the radar. And so that's probably the only one I'm going to do. My husband has had some health issues, and so he has been put on a national lung transplant list. And so that's kind of slowed me down a little bit, but not much. And so I'm kind of cautiously, kind of when he gets that phone call, we have to go. So, but that's pretty much the only one I have. So,
Yeah. Okay, well that's good.
yeah.
How about anybody have questions for Cindy?
I
Yeah,
have
nice
one.
space.
Sorry. Oh, okay, it is. Okay. Cindy, I was given a microwave glass kiln. I've worked in. I used to do stained glass, but I just messed around pretty much. Anyway, but the top is broken. The fire brick is broken. Is there any
Okay.
way to do that other than to buy $30 a quart, fire brick cement?
That I couldn't answer. I have never worked with a microwave kiln, so I would be afraid to give you wrong information. So, um,
Okay.
yeah, I just don't know. I mean, if it's broke, I would be really cautious. So, I mean,
Well,
glass,
I wouldn't use it. Yeah.
yeah.
Go ahead.
glass heats
Yeah.
up to 2,000 degrees and higher. So yeah, yeah.
I can't imagine it working in a microwave, but I guess it does.
I mean,
But
I know people that do have those, but I
Mhm.
myself personally have never used one. So yeah,
Okay. Well, thank
yeah,
you.
you're welcome. Mhm.
Anybody else have a
Kathleen,
question?
Kathleen, I was going to say there is plenty of Facebook groups on Facebook, and you could
Oh,
certainly ask them, and they are well versed in that is like the best way to find information. And
Agree
then
with
worst
that.
case, you ask the manufacturer. So if you know who the manufacturer of it is, they could answer it
uh-huh.
really quickly for you or give you a solution if it can be fixed. So
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
Try that.
Cindy, I was just going to say, I think one of the things Cindy and I try to do several shows, and we do more craft shows than we do art shows, but we try to do stuff together quite often. But over the years, that's been one of the things that I think has helped Cindy get out into the public eye, is because we did shows every month, it felt like. But the older that you get, you can't take the heat like we used to. And I think you would all resonate with that, right? I mean, whether it's an art show, a craft show, or whatever, you become conditioned to the point where it's not worth the health risk of being out in the elements, or if a storm blows up or anything else. And so it makes it challenging, but that's where the social media aspect comes in. So if some of you aren't on social media, that is really the push to get there, because that's where your clientele comes in. We all have people that have family, they're located in other states, and then they start following you because they start seeing what's going on. And then that's that trickle effect, where then they want to order things from you or find out when you're having a class because their family members are coming in for something. And so that's where Cindy has a great studio space. And now that she is retired from her traditional job, even despite Ross's health issues, she still has a great space that she could set up to host people, and that's the best of her world, I think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It definitely makes a difference getting your name out there, whatever means it.
Absolutely.
It definitely. How do you have a newsletter that you put out? Do you have an email list?
I do not. I need to establish that. So I've been working on my, and it's been in work for quite a while. My website has been in work in process for some time now. I'm not so computer savvy when it comes to a website, but I am working on that. That is one of my goals. And so, because I have learned too that not everybody uses social media too. And I do have those few people that I have to email. And so, with upcoming classes. So, yes, that's work in progress. That's on my to-do list. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
Cindy, I am
Now,
extremely impressed with your throne room and
oh,
how you have managed to use that for all kinds of
yeah,
supplies. So it's
yeah,
functional for many purposes. And I just commend you for making that into
thank
a
you.
very, very functional room.
Thank you. Very functional. So,
Good use of every little space in your studio to store
absolutely.
all the bits that glass seems to
Yeah,
accumulate. And it's
yeah.
hard to find space for it all.
And it's still work in progress. I mean, it's still new to me. It was just, I just opened it to the public in October. And so I'm still finding spaces that I can put things. And so I'm trying not to overclutter it. Something I didn't show is I have rollout toolboxes underneath these tables, and they have a lot of tools and molds in them. Some of them have glass. And so those come in handy too. So.
I was going to ask you about your molds because I didn't see any place where you were storing molds.
Yeah, in the toolboxes. So, and then I
Uh,
do have a shelving unit underneath one of the tables. So I don't know if this will let me flip or not. I don't know that, again, I don't know that I'm computer savvy enough to do that. Anybody know how to flip this over?
what are you on an iPhone or
I'm
on
on
an
an
iPad?
iPhone.
yeah, I'm not sure if Zoom will allow you to do
I
that.
Showing,
don't
you're
know.
muted.
Here,
Click on it and up at the top.
can you see?
Yep.
Yep.
And then,
Okay.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
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 Very
So,
handy.
yeah.
Labels
So
and everything.
I try to be. Now these are not labeled, but yeah, glass.
Ah, it's
Wow.
all very nicely hidden. Makes it
Yes.
look
Yeah.
very clean.
Yes. So it's there. Yeah. So just try to make
You
use of good storage space. So
yeah, you're doing that well. You're doing that
thank you.
well.
Thank
And
you.
so you have like all kinds of variety of glass and stuff like that. Is there something that you have a preference in working with? Because I see that you're getting the rods now, and Kelly's helping you, and you
I
just
just
have.
like it all. So just yeah, I really don't have one thing that I am that kind of person that I will get bored with something and then I have to move on to something else for a little bit. Um Copper, I'm getting ready to do some of my copper work. And that has a story behind it. My son was attending law school in St. Louis, and so it was cheaper for me to buy a home than it was to pay for him to be on campus. So I bought a 1920s Tudor home and I sold it. And when I sold it, under 2 layers of shingles was a copper roof. And the buyers didn't want any of the copper. And so I had my contractor bring me all the copper. And Michelle will tell you, I have sold a lot of copper. I just started making jewelry out of the copper and doing my own patina work on it. And that's honestly why I got into flame working too, is so I could make my own beads as well, to add to the copper. But I am work in process. Kelly will tell you that too, on the flame working. So she makes it look so easy, but she's been doing it for 20 some odd years. And so, um, but that's, but I love doing the copper work too. So it's whatever I'm in the mood that day, let's do copper today or glass tomorrow. So
Early.
Now, do you let people know when they buy a piece with your copper and stuff that that's from a roof? I mean, that's kind of
I
a cool
do.
story.
It has a story, a little card that goes with it, with the story, how I process it. I soak it in ketchup. That acid eats all that junk off of there. And so that's how I clean it. And I hand cut it out. And so, yep. So it has a whole story that goes with it. So, yep. I probably have sold enough copper to pay for that new roof I put on. So, yeah. So
Cindy, what has
But
been one of your most impactful projects or something that resonates with you as a glass artist or copper art, what you do?
wow.
I know,
Most
right? I gotta
impactful.
make you think, girl.
I know. I think the most impactful is, just having those people come into my studio that, I mean, some of the students that have come in that are struggling some way, somehow, and that you've just kind of given them a little bit of relief for just 2 hours, without thought. Michelle and I have worked with veterans with PTSD. I've had those veterans in my studio. I've had spouses who have dealt with their spouses committing suicide. Um, and it's just giving them that opportunity, that chance, just to be able to breathe just for a couple of hours through working with art. I like the kitty cat, Kathleen. That's cute.
Ah, no, no. She's not supposed to be here.
But yeah, I guess that's the most impactful. When you can help another human work through some issues, I guess that's the most impactful to me. So helping mankind. So
And then what is your one hope when somebody leaves your studio after a class? What is the one thing that you hope that they take away from
I
meeting
hope that
you
they,
to doing your class or whatever? What is
I hope
the
that they leave wanting to come back. So, and that's what I hope. I hope that I've made them feel comfortable enough and that they'll want to come back and do another class and to be able to tell other people so about classes.
Yeah, well, you're doing a wonderful job there. That's impressive that you're helping those different groups of people and stuff that, because like we said, art is therapy and,
It
you
is.
know,
I have a
you're
women's
making it.
group. I have a women's group at Stevens College that comes out. They're a veterans group, and so they come out from time to time, and I work with them. I've had the pleasure last year, right after I opened, I had City Garden School. Their fifth graders came out. I had 15 of those fifth graders come out, and that was a lot of fun. So working with them, we made glass bugs, and so that was a lot of fun to work with those kids.
fun.
Teaching the future. I mean, that's the
Absolutely.
way to do it. Get those kids while they're young and get them exposed to different art forms, and so that's wonderful.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely.
Well, I will tell you what, we ask everyone that we do the studio tours with, um, when you're working, say you don't have a class, you're just out there creating something on your own. Do you like to listen to the radio, or do you have any TV on in the background, or do you like noise, or do you like it quiet?
I love noise. I have my little radio here and I have it going, and it depends again. I like all genres of music. And so it depends on what mood I'm in on that day. And it's the radio's generally going. So,
All right.
mhm.
That I think that helps kind of some folks it's got to be straight quiet, but I think music, it just playing in the background kind of gets you
Right.
going, and you
Right.
know.
So,
Well,
absolutely.
Barbara has put the link to your Facebook page down in the um chat. So if anybody wants to check that out, that'll also be included with the YouTube video and stuff. So folks can go visit your Facebook and hopefully follow it and keep
Okay.
up
Well,
with what, yeah. Does anybody else have any questions for Cindy? Is there any last things you'd like to tell us, Cindy, that you want to share?
just that if there is an artist that would like to use my space, reach out to me. Let's talk. I'll let you know. Um, we'll just go over things, and I don't guess there's anything else. No.
Okay, well, you did a great job. It's beautiful studio.
Well,
Appreciate
thank
you
you.
opening up with this very
Thank you.
much.
Thanks for inviting me to be part of this. It was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And we're glad that you're a member of the Best Missouri Hands. So we've got
Thank
some
you.
great art. All right. Well, ladies, I guess if you're ready, we'll go over to Kathleen Day, who's a fiber artist. And um, Kathleen, if you'll share about yourself, we appreciate you being here.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for having me. And I think this is really a creative way to introduce other members and stuff. So I appreciate being asked. Anyway, okay, well, my name is Kathleen Day. I live in Springfield, Missouri with 3 cats, and here's one. And so, anyway, I have been working on art all my life, or at least making things. I don't know, art is kind of relative, but I call it art. My second grade teacher said I was an artist, and she recommended that I go to Saturday Art School in Columbus, Ohio, which, if you guys have ever gone to the fiber uh, university up there in the summer program, that's exactly where I took my initial art classes, so which I got to do a few years ago. Anyway, so I was always interested in problem solving and trying to figure things out. My mother was a great library devotee, in which she'd take me to the library and I get books on maybe how to make wooden toys. Had no idea how to work with the wood, but I got interested in making puppets. And I made puppets from first paper bags and socks. I taught myself to sew. I made little Kleenex dresses for my dolls. So anyway, so I've been a maker all my life, and I think problem solving and using what I had on hand was an important thing. I always gravitated towards that more than painting or drawing. So anyway, so let's see. Fast forward. I would also subject my parents and their friends to my puppet shows, which I wrote to entertain them. So anyway, I'm just sort of a performer, and eventually got my Master of Arts in theater. So go figure. Anyway, let's see. My husband and I used to do stained glass art and make little sun catchers, and we got several commissions on stained glass windows and that kind of thing. So, and we did a lamp one time in exchange for a siding job on our house. So, anyway, but I don't know. I was also interested in fiber, and I was interested in traditional quilt making because my grandmother was a quilt maker, like most quilt makers. And of course, it had to be hand pieced and hand quilted, which I did and loved that. But got away from that when I also loved teddy bears all my life. And in the early 80s, teddy bear making was kind of a thing, or at least collecting teddy bears was. So I started making bears, and I went to Silver Dollar City and got a booth in their fall craft festival. And I got a partner because I had a 2-year-old at home and I didn't want to be gone all the time. And we ended up building a business, a wholesale business, actually, through sales reps all across the country. We had one in New York and another in Dallas that were our major things. This is before the internet, of course, way early. And so I made teddy bears, developed the patterns, and ended up employing cottage workers, other stay-at-home moms. So did that for 8 years. I'm not sure I made any money because by the time you pay commission and supplies, we bought mohair, which was expensive, and paid the workers. And I worked all the time on making these bears and shipping them out. But anyway, eventually sold that business when it looked like my marriage was falling apart. So I stopped that and I opened a bookstore and met my next husband who kind of rescued me and my kids from poverty. And anyway, and we started getting into buying and selling used and I wouldn't say antiques, but collectible type things. So had books, and then we gravitated toward opening a store on Commercial Street in Springfield called Neat Old Stuff, and sold that, and went out there into the world. But I thought, I'm going to be 80 years old, still dragging a trailer full of old furniture to Texas to sell once a month. I think I need to go back to school, get another degree. And so I got my teaching certificate. And to make a long story short, taught art, kindergarten, PK through 12, and then kind of focused on the middle school and high school. But I was 50 years old by that time, so it's not easy finding any job at 50, and teaching is kind of like that. But anyway, but I loved it, and I thought, what a deal, and I get paid for this. Oh my gosh, I loved it. So like I say, I did that for a while. But when I turned 65, that was that. And I thought, okay, I'm going to make art. So anyway, so I started, made a couple of quilts, but quilts are hard to get under the sewing machine to machine quilt. By that time, quilting had gone away from the hand making and more into the machine making and quilting, which I thought, I don't think so. But, I came around. And it was so much easier to get a smaller, I guess, quilted tapestry under the sewing machine to quilt than it was a full-size quilt. And so I started doing that, and I got in a couple of galleries, and one I'm still in called Formed Gallery on Walnut Street. And then I thought, well, maybe I should do some shows too. And I was in local art shows, including the one on Walnut Street. And I don't know if you guys, probably nobody's from Springfield, but if you are, you might be familiar with the local shows. And did that.
Historic.
Yeah.
Sorry,
it was, I'm trying to think art. What?
Art Fest. Art Fest
Art
on
Fest,
his.
thank you. Yes, Art Fest. And we are fortunate in Springfield to have, I would say, a blooming artist encouragement. I guess I'm not sure we have the buyers locally to make up for it, but we have a lot of artist community. So that's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool place to be in an unexpected way. So anyway, let's see. I sold my bear making business, as I said. Oh yeah, and then I opened the stores. So I've been doing that ever since. And along the way, I got interested in bookmaking. So I make books also. So I kind of split my time between bookmaking and art quilt or quilted art making. I call it. I don't call it a quilt because Granny made those, and people give you next to nothing for them. So this is quilted art. And, but I was fortunate to volunteer and get a volunteer position for Friends of the Library. And here's some, I rescue old book covers that they're throwing away. They're just too uninteresting or falling apart. And I make books from that. And I teach bookmaking. I like the idea of having blank books like that, so that the buyer can then become part of the creative making process. And I've done the beginning part. Now you add your thoughts or writing skills or collage or drawing or anything you want. And I hope that happens. I'm not sure it always does, but that's my goal anyway. So let's see. And that's what I'm still doing. My husband died last spring. And so we had a terrible time in Colombia in 2025. The sale was wonderful as usual, but we got rained out both days and we ended up packing up during rain. And then it was a hailstorm, as I was telling you guys earlier, on the way home, driving home. And we were just worn out. And we said, we're too old for this. And my husband, who was disabled, but helping me anyway, absolutely agreed. So anyway, I don't know about my future in shows. I'm signed up for a couple of things in the fall, but mostly I sell through local stores. I'm in the local bevy and around Pickwick Place. It's kind of near the college. And I'm at Farm Stop downtown, and that's where most of my inventory is. Farm Stop is, it's like a brick and mortar farmer's market. And they have fresh produce, handmade lotions and things, and my things, and some other people's things. So we won't mention them. Anyway, that's kind of a steady, if not fantastic income. And that's pretty much what I think that sums up everything.
You've done a lot. And it all seems like it's been on the creative side. It's like you never once in there did you mention that you were an office manager or,
well, I worked for Social Security for a couple of years, and that was fine. I like learning new things, but then I had little babies at home and I wanted to stay home with them, and I could work from home. So that's where the bear business kind of got started. But I can make and sell this stuff. So
yeah. Do you happen to have a bear handy to show us?
Oh, I do. Let's see. Where's one? I'll grab one.
I was just getting ready to ask the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is a larger than normal one. But he's mohair, and he has glass eyes, and he's jointed. And he's this one's pretty big. He's about 18 inches tall. And you'll see in the studio tour that I have a shelf of some of my handmade bears and my antique bears that I've collected. So anyway, so that was one. But teddy bears kind of lost their zing, I think. The people I sold the business to were as a mother and daughter, and they thought, oh, I'll just make money with this. I was like, yeah, but you got to design new things every season, and you're working on summer things. In the summer, you're working on Christmas, and around winter, you're working on the spring line. So Anyway, but they didn't want to, they were unable to design things on their own. And I said, well, I'll do it, for money. And they said, well, I don't think so. I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm not designing for you for free. And so the business didn't last long after that. Now that was too bad. But
Yeah. Well, you were the heart of it. You were the heart of it.
I guess
They
so.
didn't have all the skills. So
I guess not, or they just wanted to make the same things. Well, the stores want new things every year, so anyway.
I feel
we
like
all know
with,
that.
I feel like with the bears now, you're starting to see more memorial bears. So you see people's clothing that have passed away and they're making bears out of them.
Oh, I
And
didn't know
so
anybody was still making
you
bears.
just have to pivot, and
Yeah.
that's what most people don't understand is sometimes you have to pivot.
Well, I made them many bears from quilts, old quilts. People said,
Mm-hmm.
here's Granny's quilts. Can you make
Mhm.
bears for all the kids? And one time a woman had a father who had died and left all this leather, and she gave me some pig skin and said, can you make a teddy bear out of this? Like, well, I said, well, I can, but it's not going to be fluffy. I mean, it's going to be a very skinny bear, no fur. She said, that's okay. Well, I don't think she was terribly happy, but too late. It had already been paid. So anyway.
It definitely makes a difference on the material. So
yeah.
I'm going to start your video, Kathleen, and Kathleen is going to kind of narrate her video. So we can get a look inside your this is your video, correct?
Not yet. Where is it?
There.
Yes. That
Okay.
is my video.
All right.
Yes. Okay,
You ready for
set,
me to hit play? Okay.
Sure. Okay. This is the outside of my house, and I made that sign. It's a beautiful day is my last name. So anyway, start here because this is downsizing. We had a larger place, but it's important for us to honor the historical aspects of our lives. And so anyway, so this is going inside, and I've done quite a bit of fixing up on this, but it was not in bad shape. Oh, there, gosh, another cat. Anyway, okay, so I'm sorry the lighting is so fuzzy. Anyway, I hope you can see some of the quilted art. This one is dark, but I kind of specialize in wavy houses, and there's an abstract one. And there is my shelf with an art quilt, and that is a triptych based on the Mercer Mile in Foylestown, north of Philadelphia, where I've never visited, but I found the images online. I was just taken with this guy's architecture and his collection. So this is one of my favorite all-time art quilts, I guess. That is not my cat. Anyway. And there's the cat again. I like old suitcases, like anything old, and I repurpose them. There's some teddy bears, and here is another art quilt, my also favorite. That is based on an abandoned warehouse I found online, and again, took artistic liberties. I like art that you can kind of go into and explore over and over and see new things like perspective. I don't worry about right angles at all. So, and I use found object. That is, I have some rusted metal in there and that kind of thing too. And let's see, what else can I say? Mostly I do applique, and there's some of my teddy bears. That little brown bear is my bear from when I was little. And there's some more, and that dressed bear there is also one of mine. There's a couch. And there's a third cat. And here's the studio. We have bought a 2-bedroom house, just big enough for our needs and not much more. So there's a quilt on the outside, and I call this No More Precision Piecing. And it's my thumb and your nose at the quilt judges at quilt shows, because they're all about precision piecing and excellent craftsmanship. And anyway, I could explain more about that. But there's a purse. I also make tote bags, purses. There is my fabric collection, and folded according to color. I'm given fabric. I buy fabric. I find fabric. And this is an old cabinet my daughter-in-law gave me. So again, I like to recycle, reuse. And there's the next size down in scraps. They're rolled up pieces of fabric, again, sorted by color. And let's see, and there's yet more things. This is unusual fabric, quilted scraps that I sometimes use in a new way. Lace and canvas makes great tote bags, and leather down there in the bottom. Sometimes I make books from wrapped from leather. So anyway, there's that. Then I have a couple of cabinets I bought about a year ago. And those are ongoing projects right there. Sometimes I teach classes, which I'll get into maybe later. And let's see, and there's all the little bits and pieces that go on to books, like things to put on top, things to lace them up with. Again, some I was given, many I bought, and just found repurposed earrings, that kind of thing. And there's the closet. I took the door off, and there's more stories. There's paper. That's wool for felting. I like felting. I don't do it all the time, but it comes in handy sometimes. There are some apron making supplies in the cabinets there, and there are 3 sewing machines back there. One is a felting machine I was given. One is a serger I have yet to learn about, and one's my old standby sewing machine, just in case the one I use all the time goes away. There's a sculpture I made in college, and it's kind of a stairway to out of here. Escapism, basically. Here are some more things. Dremel tools, stencils, paintbrushes, paper, cover paper. We have, I don't even know. It's going real fast. Found paper. There's my husband. There's a window. There's a paper cutter. There's a couple of books. Let's see. And sometimes I make art books. That one at the top there, that 138. And the one that I'm showing, sometimes I fill them in. I find those don't sell as well. I think people like something with a utility aspect best. Here's some more aprons. I make little kitty-shaped purses for sale at Farm Stop, and that's a big seller. That is all my hand-dyed and Cantha cloth. If you guys are familiar with Cantha cloth, one of my favorites, but it's gotten very expensive now. This is the other cabinet. And it has little bits, watches and small gears, stamps, stamp pads. There's some canisters I had when I was a young housewife, and I just love houses. So I've got a few supplies in there. And Artful Thinking is a collection of ideas I've gotten from magazines. I hardly ever look at it, so not sure how useful it is. But anyway, let's see. Here's sewing machine parts. Pins, small flat metal, rusted things. Here's some of the book jackets or book boards, I guess they are. And I like the old looking ones, but I collect just about anything that's cloth bound, because you don't see that many cloth bound book boards anymore. And they're all sizes. And I use these in classes and to make my own books. So anyway, and then that is all the paper collection. And I have all sizes. I used to have that in my art room. We are all artists here. And please excuse us, basically. Big paper, smaller paper. Then the next drawer down is future projects, which always haunt me. Like, this is something you started. You could finish this. And sometimes they do. So anyway, and that's just more paper. Lots of paper. And of course, that's something I'm working on right now for Moth Market, which is something coming up in the Springfield. I don't usually make these things, but these are just little icons from found objects. And then I have, of course, the beloved thread rack, which every seamstress has to have. These are constantly used smaller tools, scissors, glue, screwdrivers, tweezers, pliers, everything. I don't know, everything I need to work in just about any media I want to. There's a sewing machine, and there's a project on the sewing machine. I do a lot of cat art. My name is Kathleen. My husband called me Kat, K-A-T. So, it's kind of a natural progression. There's the first book I ever made. I found a rusted Sucrets tin on the railroad tracks when I was walking along them one time. And so I made a book out of it, but I had no idea how to make a book. And it's very crudely done. As you can see, it's supposed to be sort of a Coptic binding, but I'd never heard of Coptic binding at the time. Here is something I was recently working on for pouches, and those are at Farm Stop now. Just a zippered pouch. And again, I like to make one-of-a-kind things. These are my little scraps. And I start here usually when I'm making a project and see if I can use up anything in there first, and then I graduate in size. So again, they're not super, super tiny, but they come in quite handy, but they also accumulate a lot. And this is my cutting table. Oh, there's the bear again. Cutting table is more standing height, and also do tabletop ironing. There's one of my felted pieces. That's a cat, says waiting for supper. And because cats tend to stake out the area under bird feeder, like a bird's going to drop in their mouth or something. And I said, all you're doing is keeping them from eating. This is my idea board. And that's my quilt I made actually right there, the one with the trees in back. And this is my banner, ArtKat. That's my first banner. Later, I had a bigger vinyl one made because my husband said, you can't even see that. But it's felted. And there's some more inspiration for that. Is a piece that recently won Best in the Fiber Division of the Senior Art Show at Juanita K. Hammond's Hall. And so I'm pretty proud of it. It's again, one of my wonky perspective. It's called Palace Steps. And this is the end. Creative people don't have a mess. They have ideas lying around everywhere. And that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. So.
Very nice. Well, it just amazes me, how much material, artists have to invest in and stuff, and to be able to do their creations. And I think I've been really impressed with how organized everybody is with keeping things labeled and,
You can't find it otherwise. I mean, I spent a lot of time looking.
Yeah. Now your pieces, like I saw that one piece was under frame, and do you prefer to frame them or to let them, I saw others that were free hanging on the wall. Do you have a preference, or does it matter?
Well, I started out hanging on the wall. I mean, they're bound, but they sometimes don't hang right. And again, I'd like to get away from the idea that this is granny craft. And so I found that by stretching them over stretcher bars, seems to really impress people more than just a straight hanging piece does. And plus, they stay in shape better. You don't have to iron them right before a show or anything. So that's kind of my thinking.
Yeah.
Kathleen?
That one book you showed. Oh, I'm sorry. I was
Go
just
ahead.
going to say that one. Go ahead, Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
That one book you showed was incredible. That was that little book that was.
Yeah.
Oh, my first book.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so good. But I love it. It's very loose. I mean, your books should be, tight. They shouldn't be floppy all over the place. It's very floppy. But every word inside has to do with recycling or finding something. And I will add, as an aging person, I feel like we are shuffled aside in society. Old people, they don't want to hire them, even at fast food. I couldn't get a job when I moved back to Springfield. And I thought, well, I'll work part-time, but no. But I don't want people to forget what's gone before, including people, houses, things that are tossed aside, thrown into landfill while we make new things, so that's why. why I think that that's kind of an important aspect of my work.
Very nice.
Kathleen, if there was one, it seems like you've kind of dipped your toes in a lot of different things and you have fun with all of them. I mean, there was a season, there was a time for each thing. But is there one that you kind of resonate to go back to that just is kind of like where your real passion lies?
The thing is, Michelle, it is puppets. I would make puppets if I could sell them. And I have a large, probably 24-inch marionette, which I didn't find in time for this. He's made out of air-dried clay as far as his hands go, and his outfit is made from found objects. His body's made from a rat trap. I love it, but every time I get him out, I have to restring him because marionettes don't travel well. But I would do that. I think if I could get an interest in it.
So a couple thought processes. One is you said you're a volunteer at the library. Is there a place that you could do that within the library for kids that come in? Could you have a show?
I have thought of that. I could certainly have a show because the library is always looking for shows. Just to be clear, I volunteer for Friends of the Library. Don't work at the library.
Sure.
I mean, I would if they pay me, but
Sure.
I was too old. But anyway, so we have a big book sale twice a year, and that was kind of that. But I could show them, and I can teach through the library. I cannot get paid for that, and that's a lot of work to put in. I have a class coming up in a week and a half at Farm Stop. I'm teaching right now through Farm Stop, and people sign up online. The thing is, it's kind of hit and miss. And if I plan someplace, I have to pay rent to go in someone's space. Farm Stop lets me use the space for free, but they take 25% of the fee. But it's only $25, and I do all this work. I mean, I can't make it any cheaper. It takes me quite a while to pre-punch all the boards and the paper and everything. All I have to do is sew it together. But we'll see if anybody signs up. But you know.
I just feel like in Columbia, there are people that they bring in to tell stories for kids, and if nothing more, it gets your name out there from a social media standpoint of people getting to know the things that you do or whatever, and then have a display of a show. So that was my first initial thought.
Well, that is good. I am not sure how much time and effort I want to put into having a business. Since my husband died, he can't help me now. And so I have to, sometimes I'm trying to do shows that are inside, although I'm doing one called Art in the Park that will be outside, but there are lots of guys there who will help me set up the tent, for instance. But I'm just not sure how necessary it will be. All of our lives, we struggled to make ends meet. And I always thought I provided a second income of sorts. And we had 5 kids. So, it's expensive having children, just they're great, but they are expensive. So anyway, but yeah, that's a good idea.
Well, I'm just thinking kind of outside the box. You could do things where it's just like this, a Zoom thing where you can explain, maybe how you make a marionette, or, tell a story, or there's things that don't have to cost you a lot of money, but just keep your name out there into the world, like.
Yeah, that's true. And go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I'm sure it is hard, especially being somebody who is a little bit older, right? But you have so much knowledge that you can share with the younger generation. And I think that's part of the process, right? You kind of have to know where it came from in order to pivot. So what worked for you originally, somebody else could pivot slightly to make it work for them.
Yeah. That I do have a simple puppet that is simply a rod that comes down, and the only working parts are the puppet's hands. And then you kind of jiggle the rod to make him move and make him his legs, which are floppy. And I could do that. And I've toyed with the idea of using natural supplies because I don't know, air dry clay, send kids home with air dry clay. I'm not sure how that would work. And if it were a 2-day class, that would work, because then you could bake Sculpey or something, or even paper mache, so super easy. I guess
just some food for thought.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Thank you.
I
So,
just don't want to
so
see you sit on your hands.
Oh no, God no! I never have any time for that. I'm always designing something new, exploring something new, and God help me if I get into glass fusing. Oh dear.
Oh,
So I kind of have mixed feelings about fixing that top. But yeah, I did recently get a little tabletop loom at an auction, and I thought, oh, I love weaving, and it's fibers, But anyway, but I got to make some stuff to sell at the shows first.
so you said you like doing cats and then also like architectural, because I've seen some of your architectural pieces in person and
Mhm.
beautiful, absolutely
Yeah,
beautiful.
they do sell. I mean, I'm not, I wouldn't say I'm surprised, because I've always been a very practical person and I love art. But let's face it, most of the art hanging on my walls is made by me. Um, but
Mhm.
not all of it, but most of it. And I think who can afford to buy something just to put on the wall? I mean, aren't our walls full? My walls are full, but I need to stop thinking that way.
Yep.
I'm in complete awe of your work. I mean, you
Wow.
are. I, I'm just telling you that fibers. That's quilting. That's like building a house, and you're building homes out of fibers. So it's
Yeah.
just, it's absolutely amazing. So.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, I try to kind of take an old thing in in art, like a picture of an abandoned warehouse, and then turn it into something better. As far as fixing it up, making it arty, like that one triptych of the uh, warehouse. Well, I
Mhm.
had a lot of fantasy elements in that, so
It's real whimsical, and I love whimsical. So,
too. And I've been recently inspired by a Austrian architect, and I can't begin to pronounce his name. It is Frieden Search Huddentwasser.
mhm.
Hundertwasser. Anyway, it's like,
Say that 3 times.
yeah, I just can't. But anyway, he's very whimsical, and he actually made full size buildings. We just don't see them too often, but because they are very unusual.
Mm. And your bears,
Kath,
I love the bears with the moving parts, and
I
those are
know.
gorgeous.
That's kind of almost a toss back to the puppets, I guess, too.
Um,
When I like puppets that move,
mhm.
so kind of like a
now,
doll.
Kath, do you with your work, because I mean, obviously you're saving a lot of, material from going into, the
Yeah.
landfill and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
do you like use that like that you've upcycled, or that this is, you know, your work is basically helping the planet by not going into
I
the
hope.
landfill, you're saving stuff. So do you use that at all, like, in your wording or marketing or
Yeah,
anything?
yeah, I do. I always
Thanks.
say, I'm not sure whether to call it recycled. It sounds like you got it out of the recycling center to me. Uh,
Right.
Upcycled, I guess, is a term, or repurposed, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
do, I
Repurpose.
use that.
Okay. How about you when you're working in your studio space? Do you listen to music or have the TV on, or do you like quiet?
Oh no. Sometimes I start working and I notice it's quiet, and it's like, I'm having trouble really. And so I put, I listen to Spotify, not to give them any, uh, advertising, but anyway, but you can make playlists there, and I love having playlists. So I have some that are kind of new agey, otherworldly, and some classical, some songs I sing along to. That's my favorite because I know all the words. And
Mhm.
and sometimes new things, pop artists from the 90s or something. So anyway, it kind of depends on what I'm working on and my mood.
Right, right. Does anybody on here have a question for Kathleen? No? Well, you did a wonderful job. You you,
Yes.
you
Don't have a
Oh,
you did a
question,
wonderful.
but I don't know if you saw Michelle's comments in the chat. She said, I have to get going, still work full time, and just wanted to say, great job, ladies. Love both studio tours. And Cindy, I know you have your hands full, but you are doing great things. Kathleen, you have a lot to offer, and I hope you find something to take you back to everything you love. Beautiful work. Good luck at your show. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.
That was very nice.
I didn't
That's
see
nice.
comments now. So great. That was nice of her.
Well, you both did a fantastic job, and appreciate you being a part of Best Missouri Hands and sharing your studio space and your creativity, and keep on doing. I mean, you guys are, you know,
Well, thank you for
wonderful.
inviting us.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, I would like
All
to
right.
just say, you look at old master artists, the ones that continued working up until the day they died are the ones with longest lived. You know, it extends their lives. So I think it's really important that we all keep working.
Keep moving.
Yeah. I agree. Just like Cindy said, it's therapeutic, and like you're saying, it does extend your life. When you keep your mind going and your hands moving, you know, it is going to make for a longer life. So that's very
yeah.
good. All right, ladies. Well,
Absolutely.
next month, our studio tour is going to be on September 8th, and we will have Barb Byrne, who is our current president of Best Missouri Hand. She's also a glass artist. So just open up her space and share that with us. So if you can join us for that, it'd be great. And this session today, our studio tours will be on YouTube for people to watch and enjoy for all eternity. So thank you everybody for being here today.
Thank you. It was great. Everybody did great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.